about sponges? Yeah. Who remembers what we said about the way sponges eat? I'm going to get you guys to do it as a class. We know that the water goes in the pores, out through the osseous. I only see half of you doing it. Let's do that. The water goes in through the pores, out through the osseous. Good job for you. Okay, we also talked about cnidarians. Okay, remember cnidarians? What did I teach you to remember cnidarians? How did they act? How do polyps act? Go ahead and do it. I know you remember. Tell us.
Your tentacles are at the top.
And what else is in the middle of the tentacles?
The mouth.
Let me see those polyps. Do I have to sing? Raise your hands, raise your tentacles in the air, and wave them like you just don't care. And all the polyps in the room say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, you know. Okay. Today we're going to talk about what? What's the next phylum we're going to talk about? Who remembers? No, not mollusks. I heard someone say it.
Cnidarians.
Not cnidarians. We talked about those already. Oh, now you're just grasping at straws.
The animals that have the tentacles on the bottom.
We're going to talk about worms today. We're going to talk about worms today. Say it nice and loud. Worms. Okay. Raise your hand if you've ever held a worm in your hand. Okay. Raise your hand if you've ever seen worms after the rain. Oh, you guys know all about worms. Raise your hand if you've ever eaten worms.
Whoa.
You had worms? What kind?
I don't know. It was two.
Okay.
Gummy worms.
No, gummy worms don't count. All right. We're going to remember when we did our group work and we did our little posters. Whose turn is it to produce today? Who did flatworms? I think it was Count. Yes. Would you guys go to your poster, please, and tell us a little bit about worms? All right. Tell us about your flatworms. What's an example of a flatworm?
Is that correct?
That is correct. Nice and loud. A planarian. And give me some facts about planarians and other flatworms, please.
Worms are classified in many different phylums. Worms have more complex structures than sponges. The more well-known members of the phylum are the parasitic tapeworms and flukes, which cause disease in humans.
Flukes which cause disease. Okay.
Flatworms range in size from 1 millimeter to several meters.
How big is 1 millimeter? Right, it's real small. How big is a meter? Anybody remember? This is 1 meter, and they can do several meters long. So what I want you to do at your desk, do this and join hands with the next person, and let's see how long we can make our worms. Okay? Let's see how long your worm is. About 2.5 meters. Guess what? They get longer than that. Keep going. Let's see how long some worms get. Let's see how many worms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meters. Guess what? Some worms get even longer than this. Okay? But we're going to talk about those in a minute. Go on.
Flatworms are acclimates.
Acoelomates.
Sorry.
Go ahead, say it.
Acoelomates.
Let's hear the class say that. Acoelomates.
Acoelomates.
Good job. Give them, what should we give them? A round of applause, or is that boring? Okay, give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. So let's talk about our flatworms. Remember our chart that we started making, describing our different animals? So here we are on our flatworms, okay? And do you remember how to spell platyhelminthes? How do you spell platyhelminthes, which is the name of the phylum?
P-L-A-T.
Platy.
T-Y-H.
H-E-L-M-I-N. T-H-E-S. Platyhelminthes. And we know that platyhelminthes are what kind of worms?
Flatworms.
Flatworms. Okay? Ooh, I showed you everything. Now, our first group that presented told us that we had 3 cell layers. So these are triploblastic. Everybody say triploblastic.
Triploblastic.
Triploblastic.